All right, let's try this again. Okay, guys and girls, welcome back to another fun-filled, action-packed, non-flipped Algebra 2 classroom video. And we're in the last unit of the whole entire school year. Unit 15, notes number 1. So your notes probably say dividing at the top of it, but we're going to save that for next time. Today is just going to be simplifying and multiplying rational expressions. All right, so if you remember, rational expression is going to be a fraction where you have a polynomial on top and a polynomial on bottom. That's a rational expression. We've been working with that for the past 2 units. All right. Now quickly, why do we say expressions and not equations? Because expressions don't have equal signs. It's just like the terms, you know. And then equations is where you have an equal sign, and then expressions usually on both sides of the equal sign.
So everybody watching has a...
Yes, sir. All right. So next, undefined values. Undefined values, we found this last time as well. Remember when we found the vertical asymptotes, right? When you found vertical asymptotes, you're looking for values of x that make the denominator equal to 0, right? And it's the exact same thing here. We're going to be finding undefined values because we don't want x to be a number where it's just undefined, because that's an error in the calculator, right? So we're going to be simplifying and then finding undefined values of x. So to simplify, there's only 2 steps. All you have to do is factor the numerator and denominator, and then you're going to reduce cancel out the common factors, okay? So as you guys have seen, factoring is very important in Algebra 2. You know, from the beginning of the year all the way to the end of the year, we've been doing factoring. So, you know, for anybody who thought they could get through without knowing how to factor, yeah, it didn't happen. All right, so let's do some examples. Here we go. It says, find any x value for which the expression is undefined. Then we're going to simplify. So typically you want to, right here, factor both the numerator and denominator first, and then you're going to check for the undefined x values, and then you're going to reduce. All right. So on A, it's already factored out pretty much. So we want to find out the x value for where the expression is undefined. Do you remember how to do that? What we said to do? That's where you take the denominator and set it equal to 0. So what's the denominator here?
4x.
4x to the 4th, right. So we're going to take 4x to the 4th and set that equal to 0. And when we solve this will give us the x value for which this expression is undefined. So how do we solve this? You would divide by 4 first. What's 0 divided by 4 though? 0. Then to get rid of the 4th, we're going to take the 4th root, right? But what's the 4th root of 0? 0. So x is equal to?
0.
Yes, that's right. And so that means, that means that when x is 0, this expression is undefined. And so that's the first part of the question, right? It wanted to find any x value for which the expression is undefined. Then we're going to simplify. So there's different ways to simplify. On this one, all we have to do is just reduce, okay? So we see 24 over 4, right? What's 24 divided by 4? 6. Then we have x to the 8 over x to the 4th. What's x to the 8 divided by x to the 4th?
X to 2? Yeah, no, 4.
To the 4, that's right. Because, check this out. If I were to draw it out, right, x to the 8 is 8 x's, like this. And then x to the 4th is 4 x's. And remember, in a fraction, I can cancel things out, right? And so I can cancel 1, 2, 3, 4, and then how many are left? 4. So that's the x to the 4th right there. And so that's your simplified expression. So x equals 0 is where the expression is undefined. And 6x to the 4th is a simplified version of that expression. So let's try B then. All right, B, we can factor it out first. But remember, like I said, there's different ways to factor. Sometimes you don't have to actually do the x box or anything like that. On B, all you have to do to factor this one is take out the greatest common factor. Do you see? So what is the greatest common factor in the numerator?
8, 1.
The greatest common factor. What can you factor out of both of those terms?
4.
4. So if I factor 4 out, what's left?
2 and 3.
2, y, right, plus 3, yes. Okay, and then what is the greatest common factor in the denominator? 6, that's right. And when I factor out a 6, what's left?
4y.
Is it 4y?
2.
2y, right. 12y divided by 6 is 2y. And then plus 3, that's right. Okay, so remember, after we've factored out, or after we factored out, we're going to look for the x value, or in this case the y value, for which the expression is undefined. So what equation can I write to find the y value that would make this expression undefined?
Set it equal to 0.
Set what equal to 0?
The top.
The bottom, right. But which part of the bottom do I need?
The parentheses.
The parentheses, right. So I'm going to put 2y plus 3 equals 0. And then when I solve this, this will tell me the value of y, which this expression is undefined. So what should I do to solve this? Subtract 3. So I get 2y equals negative 3, and then?
Divide by 2.
And so when y is equal to?
Negative 3 over 2.
Yeah, negative 3 halves. Then the expression is going to be undefined. So there's my first part of the question, and now I just need to simplify this expression. So when I simplify this, what can I do to simplify this fraction?
Distribute the 6.
No, we don't want to go back into that. That just goes back to the original.
Plug in the 3 halves for 1.
No, we don't want to do that because that would make it undefined.
Oh.
Simplifying is, remember, we factor it out and then we reduce the common factors, or we cancel out what we can. Is there anything that we can cancel out here?
2y plus 3.
The 2y plus 3, right. I see it on top and bottom. I cancel that out. What's left?
4 or 6.
Right, look how there's less terms left, right? Simplifying is getting rid of extra terms. So 4 over 6, which reduces to?
2 over 3.
So that means that, look, this is a simplified form. 8y plus 12 over 12y plus 18 is actually just 2/3. This is a simplified version, right? Isn't saying 2/3 a lot easier than saying 8y plus 12 over 12y plus 18?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. I wouldn't tell you, hey man, can you give me a 8y plus 12 over 12y plus 18 parts of that pizza? Exactly. I'd say, can I have 2/3 of that pizza? And then you get it. It's simplified. It's simple. All right, so on C. So remember, to simplify, we need to factor both the numerator and denominator. So this is where we actually have to factor. What method would I use to factor the numerator here? The X box, right. And we're not going to do that because that just takes a lot of time, because we'd have to do that a lot on this whole notes. But if I did that, I should get x minus 6 over x plus times x plus 3. Too early. X minus 6 times x plus 3. That is if I factor out the top. Okay, now the bottom is easy factoring, right? Because I can use a shortcut here. Do you know how I would factor the bottom out?
3 squared is 9, so like x minus 3, x minus 3.
X minus 3, x
Plus 3.
plus 3. Very good. Yes, that's a difference of squares, remember? I see a subtraction sign and 2 perfect squares. I can use the shortcut. X minus 3 times x plus 3. That's the factored form, right. Okay, so now that we have this in the denominator, let's find out what values of x make this expression undefined. So what equations could I write for that?
All individual ones set them equals to 0.
Right, so what are they?
X minus 6 equals 0.
Oh, Trey, what were you saying?
What he was kind of saying about, don't you have to cancel out the x plus 3 and the x plus 3?
First, okay, we do that afterwards, right? But first, we're just going to find the values where it's undefined. So what equations could you set it up? Because I think you were on the right track there. To make it undefined, remember the denominator, we set it equal to 0. So,
X minus 3.
right, x minus 3 equals 0. And also, what else?
X plus 3.
X plus 3 equals 0. There's 2 factors in the bottom. Just like we're finding vertical asymptotes, same idea. All right? Okay, so let's see what it is. So x is going to equal 3, and x also equals?
Negative 3.
Right, so if you plug in 3 or negative 3 for x, this expression is going to be undefined. All right? Okay, now we're going to simplify to find the simplified expression. What do I have to do to simplify?
Cancel out x plus 3.
Cancel out the x plus 3, so my simplified expression is what?
X minus 6 over X minus 3.
X minus 6 over X minus 3. That's right. That's it.
Cool.
And so that's the general way we're going to do these, right? We are going to factor out. We're going to find the values where the expression is undefined, and then we're going to simplify. So let's do some more examples with this. All right, on D. Now remember I said there's different ways to factor out. How would I factor out D? Do I need to use the X box here? No. What do I do? The greatest common factor, that's right. What is the greatest common factor in the numerator? 6, which would leave me with?
X minus 5.
Right? And what's the greatest common factor in the denominator?
10.
10, which would leave me with?
X plus 8.
That's right. Okay, so what do I want to do next? Bless you.
Thank you. Set the denominator equal to 0.
Right, so what am I going to write?
X plus 8 equals 0.
That's correct. X plus 8 equals 0, and then?
Subtract the 8.
Right, so when X equals?
Negative 8.
When X equals negative 8, this expression is going to be undefined. That's right. And then to simplify this one, there's only one thing we can do, and that is to reduce the 6 over 10 to what?
3 over 5.
3 over 5, that's right. And that's all we can do here. So on this one, once we reduce the 6 over 10, that is the simplest form. All right, let's do E then. Okay. On E, how would you factor out the top of E?
5 x minus 5.
X minus 5 and?
X plus 5.
X plus 5, very good. And on the bottom, what method would I have to use?
X box.
The X box, right. And if I did that, I would get, anybody know off the top of their head? Just curious.
Negative 40, negative 3. Negative 5 and 8.
Opposite. Negative 8.
5.
Right. X minus 8, X plus 5. Like that. Okay. That was pretty good, though. All right. So now what do I need to do?
Cancel. Wait, no. Set the bottom to 0.
So what are my equations?
X minus 8 equals 0 and X plus 5 equals 0.
That's right. And so X is going to equal?
8.
Right?
Negative 5.
That's right. So if X is 8 or if X is negative 5, this expression is undefined. And now what do I have to do to simplify here?
Cancel out the X plus 5.
Right, cancel out the X plus 5. So what's my final answer here?
X minus 5 over X minus 8.
X minus 5 over X minus 8. Right, that is the simplified version of this expression. Very good. And now we're on to the last example on the front side. Okay, so all right, notice on F, you're not going to have many of these problems, but you have a few, right? On F, the numerator is a sum of cubes. That means you have to use one of these formulas up here. I don't know if you can see because the lights are off, but these formulas are sum and difference of cubes. Okay, some people struggle with this before. I'm going to do this on a separate page to show you how to do this problem. So it is 8x cubed plus 27 over, what is it, 2x plus 3? That's right. Okay, so we have to factor out the top, right? The top, all you have to do is use this formula right here. The sum of cubes formula. Okay, do you see that?
Yeah.
Or I'll write it on this page because this is a video. Is a cubed plus, let's use green, b cubed equals a plus b times a squared minus ab plus b squared. So I want to figure out what is a and what is b, right, so that I can use this formula. So let's rewrite this using a cubed plus b cubed so we can really see. So what is the cube root of 8x cubed?
64.
The cube root. So you can break it down into two separate parts if it's confusing because there's a number and a variable. What is the cube root of 8? 2, that's right. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, right?
Yeah.
So the cube root of 8 is 2, and then the cube root of x cubed is?
1.
What is the cube root of x cubed? X, it's just x, that's right. So 2x cubed, let me write this in colors actually. 2x cubed gives me 8x cubed, right? Plus, what is the cube root of 27?
3. Wait, no.
3, that's right, you're right. So 3 cubed gives me the 27. So now look how that format fits this, right? A cubed plus b cubed. So now we can see what a is and we can see what b is. So then we can use the formula to factor it out. So all you have to do is replace the a and the b in the formula with the a's and the b's that you see here. So what is the factored out version going to be? What is a?
2x 3.
A is just
2x.
2x, right? And then it's plus sign, right? Plus, and what's b?
3.
3, so 2x plus 3. And then the rest of the formula is over here. So we're going to put a squared. What is a, though? 2x. And if I square 2x, what do I get?
4x squared.
4x squared, right? You have to square both the parts. Okay, minus a times b. So if I multiply 2x and 3, what do I get?
6x.
6x. And then plus b squared. What's b?
B squared. 9.
9. B squared is 9. That's right. And so there's the factored form. 2x plus 3 times 4x squared minus 6x plus 9. All right? Okay, so now what do we want to do after we've factored it out?
Set of equal to 0.
Set what equal to 0?
The denominator.
The denominator. So what do I write?
2x plus 3 equals 0.
That's right. And then how do I solve this?
Subtract the 3,
Right? So I get 2x equals negative 3.
and so negative 3 over 2. Or
Yeah, divide by 2.
negative 3 over 2.
Right, so when x is negative 3 over 2, this expression is undefined. And then now how do I simplify this expression?
Cancel out 2x plus 3,
Cancel out the 2x plus 3's. So my final simplified expression would be?
4x squared minus 6x plus 9.
That is correct. And that's example F.
Cool math.
Hmm?
This is actually really interesting.
Glad to hear that. All right, on the back side now, we're multiplying rational expressions. All right, that means we're multiplying two fractions together. Okay, although there's a whole page that makes it look different, it's really no different. All you do is you have two fractions, right, and you're going to rewrite them as one. So you're just going to put everything on the top together and everything on the bottom together. But it's the same steps. You factor out, you find out what values of x make it undefined, and then you just cancel things out. Okay, so the only difference here is that obviously there's more expressions that you might have to factor out, right? Because you have a possibility of up to 4. Okay, so on A, let's take a look at how to do this. We're going to rewrite this as a single fraction. So you see how right now it's multiplying two fractions, right? But I can rewrite it as just one huge fraction like this. And I'll put all the factored out terms together on the top, right? So this first fraction is already simplified, right? You see this? X minus 2 over 2x minus 3. I can't factor that out. So I'm just going to write those terms already right here in my new fraction. But then my second fraction over here, the 4x minus 6 over x squared minus 4, I can factor that out, right? So how would I factor out 4x minus 6? GCF. What is the GCF of 4x minus 6? 2. So I'm going to put a 2 out here in parentheses, right? I'm keeping everything separate. And if I factor out a 2 from 4x minus 6, what's left?
2x minus 3.
2x minus 3. Very good. So notice I'm color coding this, right? When I factor out 4x minus 6, I get 2 times 2x minus 3. All right, then let's factor out the bottom right here, the x squared minus 4. What would that factor out to be? Okay, so
X minus 2, x plus 2.
you're right, the 2x plus 2 and then x minus 2, like this, right? And so there we have it. That's You see how we've combined the two fractions into one by multiplying?
Yeah.
And so we have just one huge fraction. Okay, so after that, we're going to find the values of x where it's undefined. So if I weren't going to write everything out, can you tell me two values of x where it's undefined just by looking at it?
Two values of x, -2 and 2.
Right, if x is -2 or if x is +2, then it's going to be undefined. But how do I find the third one?
Set it equal
Set what equal?
to 0.
Which one?
Or cancel it. Cancel it.
No, you're right. You set it equal to 0.
Set 2x minus
2x minus 3, right. The x plus 2 equals 0 and the x minus 2 equals 0 gives us 2 and -2, right?
Yeah.
But now we want to find this one out because it's going to be a fraction. So 2x minus 3 equals 0. And if I solved it, what would I get?
3 over 2.
3 over 2.
Right, 2x equals 3. Then divide by 2. And so this time I've got 3 possible values of x where the expression is going to be undefined, right? Because I have 3 factors in the bottom. That's exactly like finding the vertical asymptotes in last unit, remember? Okay, so then now let's simplify this expression. How would I simplify this expression?
Cancel everything that matches.
So what?
The x minus 2, x minus
Right, there's x minus 2 on the top and the bottom, and then?
And then also the 2x minus 3.
Right, there's a 2x minus 3 on top and the bottom. So what's left?
2 over x plus 2.
That's right, and that is your simplified expression.
Wow.
So as you can see, it's not really different from the front side, right? It's just that there's more terms to work with.
You get 3 instead of 2, right?
Well, you could get more, depending on how it factors out. We'll see some examples. So let's move on to B then. All right, now looking at B, there's going to be more things to factor out here. So we're going to rewrite it first as a one big fraction, right? Okay, so whoa. Oof. If I factored out x squared minus 16, what would I get?
X minus 4, x plus 4.
Right, x minus 4, x plus 4, that's right. Then let's factor out x squared minus 4x plus 4. Or let's just finish writing what's on top, actually, okay? So the x minus 2, it's already, as simple as it gets. So x minus 2, I'll just rewrite that. Now for the bottom, the x squared minus 4x plus 4. If I factor, x box, and if I use the x box, do you know what you would get?
Or 0 and...
Can't be 0. It's going to be x minus 2 times x minus 2. All right? And then the last one, we've got the x squared minus 6x plus 8.
Xbox?
X box, right? And if I use the x box in this one, do you know what I get?
X minus 4 and x plus 2.
What did you say? That was
X minus 4 and x plus 2.
close. It's x minus 4, x minus 2. Because the negative 4 times negative 2 will give me the positive 8. Okay, so there it is. This time, I'm only going to have 2 values of x where it is undefined. What equations would I use? X minus 2 equals 0, because that's one of the factors on the bottom right.
Yeah.
And what other equation could I use?
X plus 2 equals 0? Oh, x plus 4.
This is an x minus 4 right here.
X minus 4.
Right. And so what are your x values?
X equals 2 and x equals 4.
That's right. So when x is 2 or x equals... I wrote 2 again. When x equals 2 or x equals 4, then this expression is going to be undefined. Okay, so then now we just need to simplify it. So how am I going to simplify this expression?
Plug,
Cancel out.
What am I going to cancel out?
You
Anything
cancel
that
out
matches.
x minus 2,
So there's one pair of x minus 2's on the top and the bottom, and then
x minus 4,
x minus 4. So what is left?
x plus 4 over x minus 2, x minus 2.
Right, x plus 4 over...
yeah, 2.
And I can rewrite it more simply by just putting x minus 2 squared, right? Because there's 2 of them. And this will be my simplified expression.
I feel like this next test might be a little easy.
Ooh,
Oh, never mind.
careful what you wish for. All right. All right, let's look at C then. I mean, I don't know yet. I'm just saying. Don't get ahead of yourself there. All right, C. So this one, you can see there's going to be 4 factoring like problems right there. Okay, so you'd have to do the Xbox 4 times here. So I'll just tell you what they are. If I factored out this first one, x squared minus 13x plus 30, do you know what you would get? See if you can guess it. I'm trying to rewrite this into one huge fraction. Okay, 10 and 3.
Negative 10 and negative 3.
That's right, x minus 10, x minus 3. Very good. Nice. Okay, now I want to factor out this term right here, x squared plus 4x plus 3. Do you know what this would be?
3 and what, x plus 3 and x plus 1?
That's right, x plus 3 and x plus 1. Very good. Nice.
Mental math.
Yeah, it looks like you understand how to go backwards. All right, what about this one? X squared minus 9x minus 10.
Give me a second.
It's going to be x minus 10 and x
Minus 1.
plus 1. All right.
That took me so long.
And then if I factor this last one out, so I would do all of these by Xbox, right? But some people can do this with mental math. All right, now if I factor out this last one, x squared plus 4x minus 21, do you know what that would be?
Negative 7 and positive 3.
Opposite.
Oh, negative 3 and positive.
That's right, positive 7 and negative 3, because I want positive 7 and negative 3 to give me positive 4 right there. All right, good. So there it is. So now just looking at this equation, can you tell me the 4 values that x is going to be undefined? There's 4 values where x is going to be undefined. Somebody give me one.
X minus 10,
So if x is what?
or it'll be x plus 10.
So what are the values of x?
You tell.
10, right? 10. What else?
X plus
Negative 1. What else?
negative 7. And
Negative 7
3.
and 3, right? These are the answers, right? When x is any of these, it's going to be undefined.
Are you have the graph and tell this email?
Not sure yet. I don't think so, though. All right, and now we just want to simplify the expression. So how would I simplify this expression?
Cancel out x minus 2, so x minus 10.
So I can cancel out the x minus 3's. What else?
X minus 10, and then x plus 1.
So what's my final answer here?
X plus 3 over x plus 7.
That's right.
Shut your ass up.
Nice. There it is.
Okay, I was waiting for the thing.
All right, and now on to this last one right here. So this one, we're going to once again have to use up here this formula, the difference of cubes formula. So I'm just going to factor it out for you. We can do the, actual Xbox, whatever, later. But right now we're just going to see the process here. So if I factor everything out, this right here, 2x squared plus 5x plus 3, if I factor that out, it's going to be 2x plus 3 times x plus 1. Next, if I factor out the x squared minus 1, can you tell me what that would be, though?
1 x minus 1 x plus 1.
Right, x minus 1, x plus 1. Good. And then x cubed minus 1. This is the difference of cubes, which would make it
2 positives and a negative. Right? X.
yeah, it's going to be 2 positive and negative. So x minus 1 times x squared plus 1, or plus x plus 1. All right, and then the last one over here, the x squared plus 2x plus 1 is just going to be x plus 1 times x plus 1. All right. So right here, there's only 2 values. Okay, see this one right here that came from the difference of cubes? That's not factorable. So there's only 2 values of x where this is going to be undefined. Do you know what they are? If x equals what?
Plus 1.
If x equals 1, and also if x equals
Minus 1.
minus 1. That's right. So if x is 1 or negative 1, this expression will be undefined. This x minus 1, if I set that equal to 0, I get the positive 1 as my answer, right? And the x plus 1, if I set that equal to 0, I get negative 1 as my answer.
And so that's why we get those 2 ones there.
Right, that's where when you're setting the denominator equal to 0, right?
Ah,
But we don't need to write that out every time because this is very obvious. It's simple to look at, you know?
yeah.
I like the, you see the answer.
Right.
Ready? The answer is 2x plus 3 over x squared plus x plus
The answer is, what did you say?
2x plus 3
Uh-huh.
over x squared plus x plus 1.
That's right.
That is a lie.
So that is going to be the final answer. 2x plus 3 over x squared plus x plus 1. And how did you get that?
Cancel out the plus 1,
Cancel out the plus 1s.
and then you cancel out the minus 1.
The x minus 1s, that's right. And we're just left with that. And so that's it, guys. That is simplifying and multiplying. Next time we'll add in dividing, but really you're going to see it's not any different. So that's the end of these notes, guys. We'll see you in the next one. Peace!